College football primetime presented by Geico. The Brave are bearing the cold tonight here in Colorado Springs, but they're happy because the Falcons are up 17-0. A dominant first 30 minutes of action. Here more than 6,000 feet above sea level. They're going to be playing hockey here in a couple months. Let's take a look at our first half stats, which are brought to you by Dell Technologies. Kirk Morrison, there's so much that stands out here.
What stands out is those rush yards for Air Force, right? And it's the total plays, too. It's not on this sheet, but the total plays by Utah State just have not been there. Their offense has just been very stagnant. What does the second half present for both ball clubs?
Taylor McGregor is down on the field, spoke to both coaches coming out of the locker room, and Taylor, I'd imagine that the responses and emotions were a little bit different for both sides.
Yeah, for Gary Anderson, it was all about the defense. He said Air Force isn't throwing anything at us that we weren't prepared for. It just comes down to us being assignment sound and tackling better, and then offensively also just getting into a rhythm. He says, I really don't have the answer as to how we do that. And then as for Air Force, Coach Calhoun saying that, of course, he was pleased with the rushing attack, but he would like to see more play action in the second.
Well, they can certainly set that up, as Air Force has an injured player down at the end of that play. It's Jeremy Fedulum, who didn't play a couple weeks ago against Fresno State, so getting him back from injury. And it's been rare that Utah State has been shut out in a half.
Yeah, only 15 plays to this point, 13 plays in the first half. This offense has been out of sync, and it's been like that for the last couple weeks. What kind of kick-started the offense a week ago, I thought was a kickoff return by Savon Scarver. Now, they were playing against a Nevada team, and then obviously the week before, 2 weeks prior to that, they played against LSU. They haven't truly recovered yet, I believe, from that game from LSU. I mean, this team has still been reeling. You see it again tonight against Air Force.
Nevada was a loser today against Wyoming, 31-3. As Xavier Valladay went for over 200 yards on the ground for the Cowboys, who are now 3-1 in Mountain West play and get to bowl eligibility at 6-2. Love on first down, lost it over the top, and Mariner can't pull it in. There is a flag on the play. That's his top receiver, the senior COC Mariner. Yeah, check those flags.
They're going to get Milton Bug. It's a hold on the outside. Got a little nosy, looking inside, and got beat on the double move. Number 3 for Air Force.
Holding, number 3. Defense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spots. Automatic, first down.
Milton Bug didn't play a couple of weeks ago, but last week against Hawaii, probably had the play that went viral from that game, if nothing else did, is bizarre pick six. Love to the edge, finds Mariner. So just as Cole McDonald felt a little comfortable near the goal line, instead it turns into a 92-yard pick six the other way for Bug.
I still don't understand how this happened. I'm still trying to figure out. That ball hit the ground at some point. I know it did, but never did. And Bug returned it all the way for a touchdown.
Gerald Bright, who ran for $126 last week, now just goes over 10 yards there with his 3rd carry of the day. 3 carries, 15 yards.
You can't get it all back in one play, right? You can't get it all back in one drive. But you like the start of this one so far for Utah State.
That had the trajectory of a changeup going to the outside for Savon Scarver. And it got into the hands of the junior from Las Vegas.
The ball was really low to the ground. Job by Scarver getting underneath it.
Well, this is suboptimal for Love to be throwing down this direction of the field. He's going into a very strong wind. The handoff for Bright gets them the first down. We saw at the end of the first half, Jake Conkey hit a 57-yard field goal with the wind at his back, and now Love is going into that force opposing him. Remember, passing-wise, his last 3 games have not been great. Just 48% completion rate, 3 picks or 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
It's just been a ton of drops by the wide receivers, and we had a couple so far in this game. But when you look at the way this running attack needs to be for Utah State. That's how they're going to get back in this game in the second half.
We got 5 NFL scouts credentialed tonight to watch Love. Tompkins has been his most frequent target tonight. He slips at about the 26-yard line, stopped by Kyle Johnson, a linebacker who's hoping to go for a master's in international relations, and it's 3rd and 5. The Aggies are 0 for 4 on 3rd down tonight. Can they keep this drive alive, trying to get their first points of the night?
Devin Tompkins been his go-to guy on 3rd down. Watch here in the slot. If I'm Jordan Love, finding Tompkins.
Pressure comes. He throws into single coverage to the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Utah State, as he hits COC Mariner for his 3rd touchdown of the year. And finally, the Aggies are on the board. 27 yards, Love to Mariner.
He got the one-on-one on the outside, and this is an NFL throw. This is the reason why you just mentioned, Mike, while there's 5 scouts here watching Jordan Love, everything is going wrong for Utah State offensively in the first half. And with one throw, Jordan Love shows you why he's one of the top NFL prospects for next year. It's throws like that right in the breadbasket.
It's so much more than completion percentage for Jordan Love. And that throw articulates exactly why. Eberle's extra point is good. Utah State within 10 as Love connects from 27 yards. Beautiful throw and a great catch.
COC Mariner there on the sideline, but kind of working out his right shoulder, it looks like, but because of the reason why, because a wide receiver who gets one-on-one on the outside, and this is where Jordan Love, so many people fall in love with him at the quarterback position. It's throws like this, throwing it to the he's covered. COC Mariner's covered, but an outstanding throw by a potential NFL quarterback in Jordan Love. Outstanding throw, big-time catch by COC Mariner.
A short kick, fielded out near the 40-yard line on the return. It's amazing to think, too, for Jordan Love that Utah State was his only FBS scholarship offer. Redshirted back in 2016, arrived on campus at 6'3", 180. As somebody who stands about that size, I can tell you there's not much you can do with that. And he's now up to 6'4", 225, and a projected first-round pick. Now the task will be getting a stop here for Utah State. Hammond with his hand on the controls has deftly run this offense. Caden Remsburg, the junior, to the edge and right near the sticks on the first down run. As with a couple of first downs on the ground on this drive, the Falcons are going to go over 300 rushing yards for the night.
Well, if I'm Utah State, it's just about, can we get a stop? Let's just find a stop, because Air Force is going to continue to keep this ball on the ground. They're not putting much in the air today. So if you're Utah State defensively, that's what you're preaching. Everybody, let's just get a stop. Get the ball back to our offense. We feel like we're rolling.
Dropping back to throw for just the 6th time tonight. And it's too long. Looking for Leslie Dalger, their starting tight end, with Cade Wagasback injured. Their starter who got hurt at Hawaii last week. Hammond's just 1 for 5.
Well, you got to understand, he's on the outside by himself. Okay, Dalger, he's standing on the outside. No one covers him up because he comes from the other side of the formation. So this is a play that you hold and you wait. They dial it up. You got to execute that one. I know Donald Hammond wishing he could have that throw back.
Fifth time they faced 3rd and 1, and they get it again. Continuing to dominate time of possession. One of the biggest fears for Utah State head coach Gary Anderson, because the last 2 times they've played, his team has had the ball for about 16 minutes and about 22 minutes. They're not even close to that tonight.
No, that's what we talked about in the open. To start this game, 2 contrasting styles. One team wants to score fast, another one wants to take their time. And right now, the team that's taking their time, I think, is putting some frustration on the team that wants to score fast.
Short pickup for Jackson, who originally got recruited by Fresno State. They wanted him to play defense. He wanted to play offense. It certainly worked out in his favor now as he's in his sophomore season with the Falcons, majoring in computer science with a minor in Japanese. Pitch goes to Remsburg. It'll be 3rd and long coming up. Talk about going to a service academy and the places you might be able to travel around the world.
Yeah.
But if you are multilingual and you can speak Japanese, that only increases your utility.
Definitely. You can be a world traveler, right? I mean, that's just to think of what I always admire about the Air Force Academy athletes is one of the most strenuous schedules we know as a collegiate athlete. You know, obviously your physical training in the morning, practice, school. It's a long day for these cadets. Always admire that about them.
Passing situation, and the ball comes loose as Hammond got hit from behind as he let it go. Nick Henninger laid the hit on him, and the ball goes laterally, tumbling out of bounds.
Yeah, that ball went backwards. That was just a nice play and an outstanding rush. Okay, you get up to get the rush. That's what you want. But I think the bigger thing is there was nobody open on the outside, right? There was nobody open. There's a great coverage sack by Utah State. And this is what I talked about. This is going to stop. You got to stop. You off the field.
So Charlie Scott is on to punt, the younger brother of J.K. Scott, two-time national champ at Alabama, now with the Packers. He hasn't had to do much in the last couple weeks. He punted 2 times last week against Hawaii. And his first tonight is a gem marked down at the 1.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Experian Boost. Raise your credit scores instantly at Experian.com/boost.
2 punts last week for Charlie Scott. His first tonight comes here in the 3rd quarter, and he gets off, well, maybe the best play of the night by anybody. A punt down to the 1-yard line. It was a bad Utah State kickoff, long return, this punt, and now the result is that the team that's trailing 17-7 has to work from its own 1-yard line. Love from the shotgun, 10 for 15 tonight, 93 yards and 1 touchdown.
This is a situation, just got to get some room, right? Just got to get a little bit of room.
Coverage was pressed up along the outside, and he hands it off to Jalen Warren, the first-year Aggie. Leading the Mountain West coming into this game with 6 yards a carry, gets just a couple.
Well, it's just about getting a first down, right? When you get backed up in this situation, you're preaching, let's get a first down, because right now you're running your backed up offense. So you can't take a loss. That's the one thing. Second thing is you may take a shot on the outside again. We saw it on the last series, CLC Mariner on Milton Bug. If you like that matchup again, why not take another shot?
The injured Aggie coming off the field is Warren, who had that carry on first down.
It's unfortunate for Warren. Here's a guy who they really felt that the offense for Utah State was going to kind of, I guess, kickstart when he came back from injury. He missed a couple games on the season, and now him being down, they think he's one of the most complete backs on the team. And now looks to be limping to the sideline.
A transfer from Snow College, the junior college program in Utah. Air Force sitting all over that with a handoff to Gerald Bright. So a 3rd and long, as Utah State has still not even possessed the ball for 10 minutes in this game. Down 17-0 at the half, and getting on the board with a 27-yard strike earlier in the quarter from Love to Mariner. Both teams trying to be the first in the Mountain West this season to reach 4 conference wins. Utah State a perfect 3-0, and Air Force sits at 3-1. Love on the run in the end zone. Completes the pass. But not enough for the first down as Tompkins makes the catch again. His most frequent target tonight.
Yeah, cover 2 right there by Air Force. Everybody sat back, understanding the down and distance. And that everybody that was in front of them, they just stayed right there at the sticks. That's great recognition by Air Force. And there was nowhere for Jordan Love to go to.
It's a tough spot here for Bartolek, kicking into the wind. Air Force has it at the 41.
Oh, that ball just went up and just died.
UFC 244. Buy it on ESPNplus.com/PPV.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Let's take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. The surprise of the day, number 5 Oklahoma losing. It's the 3rd straight week an unranked team has defeated a top 10 team, and then Michigan handing it to Notre Dame 45-14 at the Big House.
Man, that's crazy. 3 top 10 teams go down. It's crazy. Remember, look, Georgia, they lost a couple weeks ago. We remember to South Carolina. They move up. Where does Florida move to as well? So it's going to be some movement in that top 10 come next week.
It was Wisconsin and Illinois, the surprise final result last week, and Oklahoma is that team this week. Taven Burdo, the carry on first down here for Air Force. A 17-0 lead into the half. Utah State with a touchdown earlier in the quarter to make it a 10-point game. Air Force is coming off of a 56-point performance last week at Hawaii, their most in a Mountain West game since 2015. They have dominated in every facet of this game so far. Yardage, total and rushing, time of possession, first downs, points, and even as we saw earlier from Charlie Scott, a beautiful punt, his first of the game, down at the 1, which has given them this great field position after they forced Utah State into a 3-and-out.
But did you see Donald Hammond on that last play? So remember, he's been out with injury on a couple plays. The first play of the game, he hurts his shoulder being landed on, and then the next one he got tackled. This time he gets the yardage that he needed and it just falls down. That's a smart quarterback.
He's been hurt a couple times this year too in other games, last week against Hawaii and previously this season against Boise State, which was a loss, one of the 2 for Air Force. 30-19 the final in that game, and then they fell against Navy.
And this is where Air Force, they kind of just take over a game, right? You get into that 3rd quarter and you feel like you're rolling offensively, you're Utah State, and all of a sudden you get a drive like this by Air Force.
This is setting up to be a potentially huge season for Air Force. A win today gets them to 6-2, 4-1 in the conference. Boise State a perfect 3-0, but they're off this week. 5 wins right now matches the total of the last 2 years. 5 wins, 5-7 campaigns.
And you're thinking about what Coach Calhoun was talking about a couple weeks back, where does Air Force belong in the Mountain West? And the way that they're competing this year, they definitely belong. It could be one of those teams at the top of the Mountain Division come season's end.
Another first down. Yeah, they got picked 3rd in the division behind Boise State and Utah State.
Now, they've already lost to Boise earlier in the year, so we know that matchup, Boise has the game advantage on that one. But they're going to need some help. Right now, this is just a good football team. I think right now they have the athletes that can run the system. And Donald Hammond, watching him today, when he's healthy, you see the way this offense is rolling.
They've got 3 quarterbacks who can execute this system. Duval Jackson to about the 6-yard line.
You know, I said it before, he's 6'3", 190, but he plays as if he's about 225, right? You see they're just carrying defenders, 2, 3, 4 guys on them. And if you look at that Utah State defense, they're tired. They are very tired. They've been moving up and down the field. And Air Force smelling blood in the water.
Hammond hands it off. Remsburg is tripped up. Shaq Bond, the junior who had an interception last week, brings him down and brings that play quickly to an end.
I love alley players, right? Shaq Bond's an alley player. He just runs the alley, makes a nice tackle, goes outside in. When I say outside in, meaning that ball doesn't get outside of you. You take that proper angle. It's a nice tackle, nice solo tackle by Shaq Bond.
Hammond, the quarterback, has dropped back to pass 5 times, just 1 completion, though. See what they go with here, 3rd and 8. To the bread and butter, Remsburg to the outside. Touchdown, Air Force.
You're worried about the dive, but watch the tight end, Leslie Dowger, just on the outside. He seals the edge. Everyone's worried about that dive, but you always forget about the old end-around pitch. It's just a nice job by the tight end, 81 Dowger there, just sealing the edge. Air Force again on the board.
Conkey's extra point is good. 24-7 in the 3rd. Coming tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown, Randy Moss will sit down with Tom Brady to talk about his future. Could you imagine him playing somewhere else? How about that?
No.
Randy will give you the best catches from this week's college football action and how Bruce Lee turned Christian McCaffrey into an MVP contender. That and more. Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 Eastern on ESPN. Speaking of Brady and the Patriots, the Browns coming off a bye week. Is that going to be their first loss? Probably not.
Mohamed Sanu, new Patriot.
Probably not. Deep in the end zone, out to the 25, and let's go down to Taylor.
Yeah, guys, on that last offensive drive for Utah State, we saw running back Jaylen Warren come out with a left ankle injury. He went into the tent, they taped it up. He warmed up here on the sideline, gave the athletic trainer the thumbs up, and he's heading back in there.
Taylor, when you say warmed up, is that a figure of speech?
That's a let's try and say we did, but no guarantee on that.
Yeah, what's it like down there? I mean, we're up here somewhat isolated from the wind, but it's been a strong wind, and when the sun went down, it got a lot colder tonight.
Yeah, the wind is what's making it so cold down here. Now, luckily for the players, they have these heaters on the sideline, so you can see them all gather around those heaters, and I think that helps significantly while they stand still on the sideline.
You know, the warmest place on a football field is the sideline. And so that was one thing I know as a player.
How would you know? You hardly spend any time there.
No, as a player, defensively, hey, let's get a 3 and out, get back to the sidelines by these heaters.
Our meteorological experts talking in our ear say the wind is about 30 miles an hour right now here in Colorado Springs. Love is gobbled up. Nowhere to go with that. DeMonte Meeks, one of the first there, the team's leading tackler. The civil engineering major engineered his way to a sack.
No, we haven't talked about John Rodzinski enough, the defensive coordinator at Air Force. His plan tonight for Jordan Love has been to double cover the inside receivers. Devin Tompkins go man-to-man on the outside, but that was just a straight coverage set. Nowhere for Jordan Love to throw the football. They've confused him throughout this game. We've seen one great throw from Jordan Love, but a bunch of frustration offensively for Utah State.
Rodzinski in his second year as the defensive coordinator also spent time working in Charleston on those C-17s. Pass complete. Forward progress is stopped with the completion to Nathan. He gave such high praise to Jordan Love for his touchdown pass to Cioce Mariner earlier. Can he come up with a big one here on 3rd down? Across the middle, and it's incomplete. It's an offense a year ago, 2nd in the country, only behind Oklahoma at 48 points a game. But as has been evidenced now in their 7th game of the year, the supporting cast is just not as good as it once was.
Well, and you're looking at, honestly, what defenses are doing, Mike. They're dropping 7 in coverage. They're forcing Jordan Love to have to sit in the pocket, go through his progressions, and throw laser-like passes. every time you've seen him throw the ball today, you've seen at least 2 or 3 Air Force Falcons in the vicinity.
Another punt into the wind for Bartolo. Week 8 Monday Night Football. It's going to be Jerome Bettis and Cordell Stewart for the Steelers against Dan Marino and Olindo Mare for the Dolphins. Monday at 8 Eastern. Monday Night Countdown at 6 from Heinz Field. Oh, nailed it.
Wow.
Nailed that promo.
You can go Mark Duper or somebody for the Dolphins. You can go old school there. Or if we go on Tecmo Bowl characters, the Hall of Famer Jason Taylor.
You will have Mason Rudolph actually in that game coming
Get
back.
some Sam Madison on the outside. Man, come on.
Make that a feature of our promos every week is how many throwback names can you include for Monday Night Football?
There you go. We get some, who else? Some John Lloyd. You get a lot of guys out there. I mean, Greg Lloyd. Look at me. I'm messing up. I'm going Greg Lloyd. I'm trying to throw in Kevin Green for the Steelers.
I'm going to call you Mike Morrison from now on. He's Kirk Morrison, the former San Diego State Aztec, 8-year NFL linebacker. I'm Mike Cousins, Taylor McGregor. Down on the field tonight reporting as Air Force and Utah State vie for their 4th conference win of the year. Whoever's the winner is going to be the first to 4 wins, trying to unseat Boise State as the kings of the Mountain West.
I can tell you this, there's also some bowl committee chairmen here in attendance as well. With this, if Air Force is able to hold on with this victory, they're going bowling, which I know is huge down here at the Air Force Academy.
Like Candlepin?
I don't know yet. There's a couple.
They'll be bowl eligible for the first time in 3 years with win number 6. And you look back, I mean, it was a great game last night in Boulder between USC and Colorado that went the Trojans' way as they were down 10 late, came back to win. But the win at Colorado earlier this year was Air Force's first Power 5 win since 2010. When they beat Georgia Tech in the Independence Bowl. Once again with diminishing time in a quarter, as Air Force did in the first. They walk off the field with smiles on their faces, especially for Donald Hammond. Perplexion for the Aggies. They trail by 17 with 15 minutes to go. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Geico. All the cadets are celebrating the 61st birthday of our friend and colleague, Frankie Villa. We're up more than 6,600 feet above sea level. He's the highest in the whole building tonight up there on top of the scoreboard. Wherever we travel every week, he's above the end zone. 30-mile-an-hour winds, freezing temperatures. Happy birthday to our friend Frankie.
Happy birthday, Frankie.
You'll be back in Orlando soon, where it's a lot warmer than this.
He can go back putting the shorts back on.
He keeps a busy schedule.
He does.
Working Major League Baseball, the NBA, college football. He's got to slum it with us on Saturdays. Sorry, but happy birthday. 24-7, Air Force has the lead here, 4th quarter. Mike Cousins, Kirk Morrison, Taylor McGregor. As the Falcons and Aggies vie for win number 4 in the Mountain West this year. Hammond across midfield and then some as he goes to the 40-yard line and it picks up the first down with a gain of 14.
I love the pace that Donald Hammond plays with, right? Like, it's just like a coolness to him about it. He just plays where the game is never too fast. You watch him make moves and he's setting things up, but it's not like he's overly working. That's just a sign of a good quarterback, knowing where his blocks are, but just truly having fun. And you can see that we watched it throughout this game. Keeps a smile on his face. Outstanding job today by Donald Hammond so far.
And in this style of offense, it's a quarterback who has to do a lot of work. He's only carried 7 times. Meanwhile, the dive has gone 33 times for 190 yards. So much of that has been with Duval Jackson, who is tonight's king of the moment, brought to you by Burger King.
Yeah, his government name, Timothy Jackson, but people around here in Colorado Springs call him Duval. And he's the king of the moment. He's been the dive player. 6'3", 190, plays so much bigger. And Utah State really has not had an answer for him throughout the game. He's shown off athletic ability, speed, acceleration, but also some power.
Okay, so if anybody's not familiar with what you just did, you got to explain that for the non-Jacksonville Jaguars fan base, which is 99% of the people.
Yeah, probably so. No, 2010 in the NFL, I spent with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so when I get down to play with the Jaguars, everyone kept saying, Duval, and I didn't understand why till I realized that Jacksonville, Florida, located in Duval County.
But they're not just fans of the county.
No, they're not fans of the county, but it just became a crying call for everyone in Jacksonville and Duval County. So when I hear Duval, this is what I know about Tim Jackson, also known as Duval.
But it came from a radio DJ.
It did come out from a radio DJ. And it was a story that, you know, me and you were always going through our notes, and we're looking at players throughout the week and who we want to highlight and talk about. And it just, every time we kept saying Duval Jackson, I'm like, Duval Jackson, it just takes me back to Jacksonville. So me and you did some research, and it actually goes back to a disc jockey who used to have it as a drop whenever they would go on the air in the morning. So
like he'd be on a mix show and just drop it in over the music.
Duval. And definitely caught on down there. And Duval Jackson tonight, Burger King, king of the moment.
But worthy of the chant. Time of possession still continues to heavily favor Air Force. Over 36 minutes with the ball in their hands, 12:03 for Utah State, which, to revisit what we started talking about at the beginning of the night, a worry for the Utah State staff, because the last 2 years they've played, they had the ball for 16-20, 22-09, and they're in danger of being under those numbers tonight.
Well, they haven't made their drives count either. And so it's one thing to be obviously out-possessed in the time of possession, but when you don't make your drives count, that hurts even more.
Remsburg, Birdo, Jackson, along with Hammond, the quarterback, have been the quartet inflicting most of the damage on the ground for Air Force.
You know, really outside of the 2 turnovers earlier for Air Force, they've really played a clean game, right?
And it's easy to forget about those because there was no damage inflicted because of those turnovers.
Well, they had a couple mistakes, but outside of that, been very flawless with their game plan tonight.
Through the middle and the extra push, Birdo is down to the 1-yard line.
You know, a couple names we didn't call enough tonight. David Woodward, number 9, the all-everything linebacker, one of the all-Mountain West Conference linebackers for Utah State, and Kevin Metzenheimer said they're the best duo in the Mountain West, and we just really haven't called their name tonight. This offensive line of Air Force has really just kind of imposed their will on this Utah State defense.
They've rushed for 398 yards. Tack on another touchdown, Birdo, and the Falcons have 6 more. Earlier this year, they threw 1 pass in their win against Colgate, and they ran for 434 yards. They're only 35 shy of that with 10 minutes to play.
Man, this has just been workmanlike, right? That's a workmanlike drive. That's a drive that you say, you know what, if we go drive down and score, this game's over. That's how they feel. And Birdo, second effort, spin move, touchdown.
And if not for a furious comeback effort from the Aggies, this game is over. Now we'll take you from Plan to Play, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
Plan to Play has been Caden Remsburg earlier, showing off the moves. Look, he's already a participant on the track and field team in the 100-meter, 200-meter, but he's over here auditioning for the 300-meter hurdles. Earlier, showing off that leaping ability, Caden Remsburg doing his thing tonight.
He's been sharp. 92 yards for him, puts him at 623 for the season. This is their 7th game of the year. That kick into the wind. And so he could be If the season continues on this course, their first 1,000-yard rusher since 2015. Jacoby Owens just got past that mark with 1096. Hard to do when the running game is as well dispersed as it is on this team, but they've almost got tonight 100 yards on the keep, 100 yards on the dive, and 100 on the pitch.
Everybody eats. That should be the motto of the Air Force offense. Everybody eats.
Love with a one hopper over the middle. 13 for 20 on the night for 116 yards for Love, coming off of a 13 for 31, 169 performance against Nevada last week.
No time to throw for Jordan Love either. I mean, everything he's doing has been.
Cuts this back the other way, just trying to get something to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and long. We talked about earlier how there are 5 credentialed NFL scouts here tonight. If I'm watching at home, I go, yeah, this is not a great game.
Right.
How do they evaluate him for next level play when the supporting cast is not living up to its billing?
Well, remember, you're looking at the potential. You're looking about the future on putting him in your offense in hopes of, to me, I think what I saw back in, I believe, 2016. I think I saw it in 2016, quarterback Josh Allen right here in the Mountain West Conference at Wyoming. It's very similar to what Jordan Love's kind of going through.
Not a great team, but a great player.
Not a great team, great player. And a lot of people criticize whether it was his completion percentage, the interceptions. He gets drafted to the NFL, and a lot of people are saying the Buffalo Bills have a franchise quarterback. And I think it's very similar with Jordan Love. He has all the attributes. You talked about his size, 6'4", 225. He has to fit in the right offense.
ESPN College Football is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
One of the more prestigious trophies in all of college football, the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. One of Air Force's 2 losses was against Navy earlier this year, and the trophy is given every year to the winner of the competition among the service academies, Army, West Point, Navy, Air Force. The Falcons won it outright between 87 and 02, 13 of those 15 years. So they've got the all-time lead, and Navy can win their first since 2015 with a victory over Army on December 14th. So it's the Army-Navy game annually because of where it falls on the calendar that gets a lot of attention. But hey, Air Force has got the lead in that series. Prolific rushing attack gets them over 400 yards total with that carry right there, and they have spread it out to great success.
Oh man, it's a big pizza, right? And everybody's going to get a slice. Some people's slice may be a little bit bigger than others, but everybody's going to eat. And that's the way this offense is built for Air Force. This rushing attack is everyone is going to get their slice of the pie.
Some of the breakaway speed we haven't seen very much tonight from Donald Hammond. As a defender, how do you focus on any one player when it can go to 4 or 5 guys who can all beat you?
Well, it goes back to my point in the beginning. DQP, dive, quarterback pitch. And Utah State has not done a good job throughout the game of stopping the dive. And when you don't stop the dive, it does open up the other plays. It opens up the playbook pretty much. The quarterback keeper there, the pitch play we've seen go for a touchdown earlier. It all comes together, but it's the dive that makes this offense go.
I feel like you're making it sound way easier than it is, because clearly, you know, we've seen Utah State, which had allowed 6 rushing touchdowns coming into this game, and their offense or their defense has been decimated by this attack.
Yeah, but I tell you this, I go back to the most tackles I've ever had in my football career. Pop Warner, high school, college, NFL, was against Air Force. 19 tackles, because you have to be active. But it's really about everyone doing their job. And Utah State just had some breakdowns, more so on the dive carrier.
You even found a way in your college career against a non-passing team to come up with an interception against Air Force.
You know what? I had to. When you get opportunities, you got to make those opportunities. You got to make them come
Morrison's
up.
memories.
Yeah, my memories back here in 2004. See, that was grass on the field back here. Now they got the turf. I was putting in work, but I always remember my Aztecs, we won, but a 4th and 9 to seal the game, an interception by yours truly. One of my great memories of college football, especially here in the Mountain West, to seal a game with an interception. Snow flurries, all of that, man. That's Mountain West football right there.
I think you probably should have been ejected for targeting on one of those hits.
There was no targeting back when I was playing.
A decade and a half early before that penalty got instituted. That was before you were Mr. 58, before you were Mr. 52. You were Mr. 34 for the Aztecs.
Yes, Mr. 34, Mr. 52, they both add up to 7. Right now, 58 was a little bit different when I got to Buffalo, but you know, you think about that and watching those clips and the Morrison memories there, this was always a tough place to play. You know, we talked about it earlier. You know, our camera 4 guy, Frankie, again, happy birthday. But this was always one of the hard places to play, Wyoming and Air Force. Why? Because of the elevation. It would take you about a quarter or two to really, you know, kind of get acclimated to it. And Air Force would jump on you quickly, and you got to find a way to be able to sustain that first initial surge. And Utah State did not do that tonight so far.
That's the 30th first down of the game for Air Force as Birdo plunges through. Timeout for an injured Falcon. NFL primetime with Boomer and TJ, 7:30 Eastern. Depending on where you are right now, it's either tomorrow or tonight. It's only on ESPN+. All the highlights and breakdowns from the day's games and updates after Sunday night and Monday night action. To get ESPN+, download the app or go to ESPNplus.com. Air Force on the move, salting away a 31-7 advantage that was 17-0 at the break. The only score for Utah State tonight, Jordan Love to Siaosi Mariner. And in every phase of this running game, whether it's been Hammond at quarterback, a give up the middle, or work into the outside, they have executed to near perfection, albeit a flag on this play.
Holding, number 66, offense, 10-yard penalty for the previous spot, still first down.
Kirk, 439 yards on the ground, pretty evenly distributed.
Yeah, but it's been the dive, right? The dive, not so much the key, but it's the pitch. The pitch has resulted in 2 touchdowns. You get the pitch down by where? The goal line. Everybody's packed in. You're going to get the dive or the pitch. But this is the type of performance that I didn't expect from Air Force. I knew they would run the ball well, but I was expecting more from the Utah State defense to be more prepared for what they were going to see. And it's just been a total domination by Air Force.
And they came in second in the nation in rushing yards per game behind Navy. 345 for Navy to 305 for Air Force. Now 442 for the Falcons after Navy put up 385 today against Tulane. So outpacing their fellow Service Academy. Ohio State third in the country, a meager 264 in their win today. Second and a mile. Sports Center from Los Angeles comes your way after Washington State, Oregon with Stan and Neil. Astros Nationals, Game 4 post-game coverage from our nation's capital, plus reactions from Notre Dame and Michigan. An eyebrow raiser there. And college football analyst Heather Dinich details how Oregon or Utah can make it to the college football playoff. They'll address their thank you notes to Norman. Sports Center after Cougars Ducks on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Astros Nationals tied up at 2. that what you expected in the World Series?
After a team goes down 2-0, right? You don't expect it to immediately flip back the other way. It gets that much more interesting.
Like they always say now, it's a 3-game series, Mike.
You're at one of the best portions of the calendar for sports, where you've got NFL, college football, World Series, NBA just started, and we're within a week and a half of college basketball getting going too.
And then you told me hockey as well, right?
Hockey is going to be here, as a matter of fact, at Falcon Stadium. The Avalanche and the LA Kings, the day after Valentine's Day, are going to play here.
It's just fun right now, right? I get a chance to watch a lot, especially me living in Los Angeles. So it's been really about not the Lakers, but the Los Angeles Clippers, Mike. The team that everyone's talking about in the NBA.
First of the half.
Hey.
Timeout on the field.
So on the way for Air Force, so the win today goes to 6-2. They'll see Army, which lost to San Jose State. Army's going to need to win 4 of their last 5 to get bowl eligible. They'll go to New Mexico, a team that is winless in Mountain West play. Colorado State toward the bottom of the league, surprising win against Fresno State today. And then Wyoming, which has put together a nice year to get to 6-2, 3-1 in the league.
Well, look, they're going to need some help too, right? They still got a shot at the Mountain West Conference Championship game. They just need Boise State to lose a couple. And Boise's schedule down the stretch, they're going to have to win some. And, you know, it's the quarterback situation in Boise. Which one is going to start, really?
Saw Chase Cord.
Hank Bachmeier's been a little bit banged up.
Yeah, get him healthy on their bye week. One of the MVPs tonight, when we're talking about hockey, we had to give one of the stars tonight to Charlie Scott. Just his second punt, and that was wind-aided. Not to take away from any of his ability, but can really get it up into the wind. He's landed his 2 kicks at the 1 and this time at the 5.
Wow, not even a quarter of possession time for Utah State tonight.
And we got a flag. It's only the 6th flag that has hit the field tonight. Remarkably clean game.
The ball was not marked ready for play, so there is no false start. We're going to go snap. First down.
Whoops. Maybe a couple on the handoff to Riley Burt, the senior and Utah native, grad transfer from BYU, where he ran for a couple of touchdowns and a shade over 300 yards last year. So a loss tonight for Utah State will drop them to 4-3 overall, 3-1 in conference play. Love lost it over the top. Incomplete again, looking for Mariner, with whom he connected for the Aggies' only touchdown tonight.
Yeah, just frustration, I think, for Jordan Love. Think about the expectations for him. Just a year ago, he throws 32 touchdown passes. He gets on everybody's radar. The 6'4", 225 pounds. He's coming back for what people hope will be an encore year. And right now, first couple games of the year, looks okay. But he's definitely struggled the last 3 games. And look, we understand the LSU game, one of the top defenses. But the other games are the ones that really, I think now people are scratching their head. What kind of quarterback is this?
It's maybe a loss of 2 on that play, complete to Burt. So Love is looking at 114 yards tonight.
Well, I think we do got to mention, too.
Passing totals receding.
Yeah, but it is a new offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Sort of a new scheme, too. Remember that last year was Matt Wells, head coach that goes to Texas Tech. So this has been a different and an adjustment for Jordan Love. I just didn't see it being this long in the season that the adjustments really haven't taken off for him.
Punt with the wind, and it's down to the 30-yard line. So we looked at the path forward for Air Force. For Utah State, it does not get easier.
No.
You've got a hotly contested game next Saturday, ESPN2. 8 Mountain Time against BYU. They go on the road to Fresno State. The Valley's always a tough place to play. Then Wyoming, Boise State, and they finish at New Mexico.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this.
And that's going to be cold November 30th there in Albuquerque.
Outside of that New Mexico game, right? I think New Mexico is just not a good team this year in the Mountain West. But everyone else, they're going to be in for a fight. The rest of those games, I mean, BYU, we know they beat Boise last week. You mentioned at Fresno State, they're still fighting. They're hoping to get into a situation where they can win the west part of the Mountain West Division, but they've dropped a couple games. But everyone circles that Boise State game. Everyone at Utah State, that's the game that they were maybe looking ahead to a little bit too much.
So Air Force can continue to do what they have done without even having to run the ball, is take time off the clock and surge toward bowl eligibility to 6-2, 4-1 in the Mountain West, and their fewest points allowed since 2015 at Hawaii. This team continues to get stronger as the season goes on.
Just an outstanding performance. Quarterback Donald Hammond, we mentioned Duval, Timothy Jackson, and his defense for Air Force. Just guys flying around. Total team effort tonight.
31-7 is the final score. Thanks for being with us here tonight. College football final is coming your way next. So on behalf of Taylor McGregor down in the field, my partner Kirk Morrison, happy birthday Frankie Villa one more time, 61. And on behalf of our entire crew, Mike Cousins saying so long. College football final comes your way right now.